Hi, I'm Bob Livingston. I served in the United States Congress for 22 years after about 9 years in the practice of law and 6 of those serving as a criminal prosecutor in the federal, state, or local levels. When I got to Congress in 1977, after a losing campaign, when I finally won, I was sworn into the minority for where I stayed for 17 years. And I was happy to be in the Congress. It was a great job, and the minority was great, but I was part of the team to lead the Congress and lead the Republicans to taking the majority in 1994. When we took the majority, Newt Gingrich became Speaker, and he named me as Chairman of the Appropriations Committee, where I served as Chairman for 4 years until I ended up leaving Congress in early 1999, whereupon I formed the Livingston Group. I took my top 3 people, and they had been with me for most of that time. In fact, 3 of us have been together for almost 30 years now. Alan Martin was my first winning campaign chairman. And he became my chief of staff. Paul Cambon was my driver, and I always say that he almost killed me so many times I took him away from the wheel and put him behind the desk. But he became one of the top legislative aides in Congress and certainly on the Appropriations Committee. And then Rick Lejean, who came to us later, but has been with us close to 20 years, he was my district representative and is my partner in my New Orleans office down in Louisiana. As we started the Livingston Group in March of 1999, we formed an alliance with Jones Walker, a 230-person law firm, very prominent firm in Louisiana, but they only had 2 people here, and we piled in on top of them. And we created a business plan that would enable us to get first to 1 client, and then 2 and 3 and 4. And we grew from there, basically on the pretext that it was important to keep our overhead low. We had only a few full-time employees, and then we gradually added consultants who would work with us for common tasks and common goals. And they had their own operations, and when we needed to work together, we would. As a result, we've taken that business plan, much like RE/MAX in the realty business, and developed what has recently been called by Legal Times the 7th largest lobbying firm in the city, excluding the law firm activity. Our associate law firm, Jones Walker, has grown as well. They have something like 10 or 15 people here, and we share a good bit of business which we work on together. But we are an independent entity. And the Livingston Group, now counting our friends in the law firm, comprise about 60 people, all working together on one project or another. We represent countries, businesses, nonprofit entities, high-tech, education, health, and the like. We represent the National Federation of the Blind, Girls and Boys Town, and the Girl Scouts, among others. And it's been a very, very successful venture. I'd have to say we really didn't know what we wanted to do. None of us had ever been business people. We'd always been in politics. But because we're located only 2 blocks from Capitol Hill, we have the proximity to be in the office of any one of 435 members of the House of Representatives, and in about 7 to 10 minutes can drive over to see all the members of the Senate. All of this is combined to enable us to be first-rate message takers to the members of Congress and to act as advocates for our clients. A lot of people think that lobbying is a dirty word. Well, I always remind them it's not a 4-letter word. And in fact, it's just as vital and critical as our attorneys when you go to court. Having been an attorney at one time, and I don't practice law anymore, I can tell you that In the old days when I did, my clients would hire me to go to court because I knew the procedures. I had been to law school, I'd understood the procedures, and I knew how to get things done through the court process. Well, lobbying is basically and entirely really the same process. Only because I've been in Congress for 22 years, as have my two partners here in Washington and my partner down in New Orleans, and then all of the other people that work with us, either as full-time employees or as consultants. We've got a collective wisdom of a few hundred years on Capitol Hill. And through that effort, we've gained the not only the knowledge, but the association with so many of the members that have worked on Capitol Hill as members of Congress, Republican and Democrat, conservative and liberal, members of the Senate, in both parties. It's not only worked well for us, but it's worked well for our clients. People don't know that roughly 52, 53 of the current members of the Senate served in the House at one time or another, and I guess I probably served with virtually all of them. So associations are important, but lobbying doesn't mean simply gaining access. A lot of people in the press would tell you that lobbying is an evil process where you buy access. That's absolutely ridiculous. Associations are important in order to know how to go about getting an objective done or blocking a piece of legislation. All of that really comes down to understanding the processes. And when you go to the Hill as a lobbyist with a client or on behalf of a client, basically you have to make a pitch to each and every member that you talk to, and you have to prove your case, just like you might in court. And if the member doesn't agree with you, if for any reason that he or she decides that they don't believe the case, or they don't think that the facts are sufficient to warrant action or inaction, depending on what you're looking for, well, then they won't do anything for you. They have the power to exercise their own judgment, and that's what they're elected by the people to do. We're hired by our clients to put our best case forward, and that means we often have to be selective and tell clients that we don't want to take their case to the Congress. In many instances, you find that people have causes that aren't worth much and or are totally impossible, and it doesn't do us any good to waste our time and go to Congress and try to convince members of something we know is never going to happen. So we discourage those kinds of things. We take causes that we believe in. We take causes that we think that we can do some good with. We're not always successful, and we can't make any guarantees that we will be successful. But we think it's a good and honorable practice, just like the practice of law. We think that it's constitutionally protected in that every United States citizen has the right to petition his or her representative in government, at every level of government, and a lobbyist simply enables one who doesn't understand the processes to do exactly that. I think if the American people reflect on that, they'll understand that lobbying, just like the practice of law, is an important profession. And hopefully, if anybody out there is looking for a good lobbyist, we're ready to go to work for you. Thank you.